Yo, what it is, YouTube? It's your boy DC coming back with another bullseye of a video here today. I wanted to talk about clean compression and how you can use that to gain density in your mix. You feel me? It's like when you have a piece of bubble gum. You feel me? When you first start getting on the piece of bubble gum, it's like a long piece, right? But then as you start to chew it, it becomes a hard, solid ball. It becomes more dense. So that's what I wanted to talk about today, okay? So if y'all like this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe down below to support the channel. Check the links in the comments. Let me know what you think. And yeah, I'm gonna link the artist. All right, let's go.
Hooked on the feeling, just let the real spin. I hope you meant it when you say you don't wanna speak, cause there's nothing that's breaking me more than watching you bleed. And you don't mind the distance, Mrs. Independent. You can tell I'm guilty by the way I'm still missing. Just wouldn't believe this, me showing these secrets. I'm lying, I'm lying, I'm lying. If it isn't you, can't tell if it's me or if it's just paranoia. At the club trying to avoid you.
All right, really dope. So yeah, I'm gonna show you guys a concept though, right, of managing the transients, right? Because the transients are like a situation where it's like, imagine like, Mario, you ever played Mario World and that big old motherfucker Bowser, he got all those spikes on his back and stuff like that. Imagine all those spikes on his back to be like the transients. The transients are kind of like quick spikes of energy. And I noticed sometimes I could actually make a vocal cut through a little bit better if I manage the transients, if that makes any sense. Because the vocal has transients too. You feel me? Those are like all the transients in the vocal, right? So sometimes I want to make a vocal sound more present, more harder, more solid, like that piece of bubble gum I was talking about in the beginning. I wanted to make it feel more solid. And sometimes in order for me to show somebody how solid a piece of bubble gum is, I have to show them the rest of the pack with all the other pieces of bubble gum and how they're all flat type shit. You feel me? So they have a point of reference. So, I find myself sometimes what I'll do is I'll use these transparent compressors, right? And this is why you always gotta know too, like, even if you throw like a SSL bus on your master fader, right? You gotta know, oh shit, that shit might be adding some color, might be adding some saturation. Maybe you only want quote unquote glue or just some control or reduction in the dynamic range, because that's what a bus compressor will do. You'll put on an SSL, you'll be tapping 2 to 3 dBs, and now that the mix has less dynamic range, it's a little bit more tighter, the transients are more tighter, and now it sounds more solid, it sounds more complete, more full, more packed, more dense. So let's look at this example I'm only going to show you guys the transparent compressors that I was using here today. The first one being a Pro C, and I applied this on the 808. I learned this from watching some pro engineers, and I just like to use the default preset, and I like to compress a few dBs, and it just kind of makes the bass sound a little bit more solid. So this bass is like, it's like the ocean, it's like the beach, it's the waves are going up and down. You feel me? And I want to control that to make it a little bit more steady, and I feel like it helps the vocal cut through better. So you can kind of see, like, as that bass is like extending, right? Like the sustain of the bass, right? There's kind of like this little bit of wobbliness in modulation, and I just feel like as the song is kind of playing, that stuff starts to stack up. Too, when you think about how it's kind of like if I put a picture in front of you, but then I put a bunch of squiggly lines around that picture, it kind of makes it harder to focus on the center of that picture, which is the lead vocal. Okay, so then with the drums, I like to use maybe something too, like a Weiss compressor. I seen Tizio use this. I had this plugin forever, but I see why he uses it. I like this plugin because you got the internal side chains, right? You have a band selective and all that stuff like that, but you also got like a safe limiter. You could do parallel compression. So for me, it's the perfect vanilla compressor, and you use vanilla compressors to like kind of just control dynamics, So I kind of use this a little bit more like with like a limiting, like a pumping limiter. Like even though it's not a 20 or more ratio, I still use it like a pumping limiter because I wanted to help the sustain of the hi-hat come out a little bit more. Tss. So, you know, when I turn off the compressor on the bass type shit, you don't hear you don't hear that much buzzing, you know. The bass becomes a little bit more shorter because we kind of like really started to tighten up that sustain. And now with like the drums in itself though, now the drums kind of feel longer. So I like using this shit. I like using this because this is the perfect like transparent clean compressor. But when you start to you know, hit it upside the head, it will most certainly distort in a very clean vanilla way. And even when it comes to like, you know, the actual instruments and shit like that, there was a pad. I wanted the pad to feel a little bit more solid, so I used something like the Pro C2 again on the default preset. I don't like the auto gain. I just use it on the default preset to just get it to feel more solid.
Hawaii. I heard them wages clear, that way I get out of here.
So like you see how with the pad specifically, you know, there's a lot of modulation, there's a lot of you know, back and forth movement. It's a lot of wiggling and a lot of wobbling, right? And that's the most important thing about controlling the motherfucking transients, you know, micromanaging them. Not all the time, but on a song like this, where the lead vocal is very prominent. Look at his waveform of his lead vocal. Look at how like it's spiky, you know, it's spiky at some points right here. You know, there's certain words that have a little bit more energy, like this word, like we want to feel the full impact of that, you know, that word right there, you know. And these different spots are like I kind of, it reminds me of like Mega Man, you know, when he got like that mega cannon and sometimes he charges it up, boom. So those transients are like big charges of energy coming out of Mega Man cannon type shit like that. And you kind of really want this shit to come out more than the transients in the hi-hat, because the transients in the vocal are what's telling the emotional message of the song. You feel me? It's the one at the campfire that's telling the story, type shit like that. So that's why I think that you know, transient managing the spikes is important. You feel me? Sometimes I just let the spikiness on the vocal, you know, lead the way, right? So I let the vocal hit hard, right? Because this is a transient right here, but this is also a transient right here. You see all these little kicks and these little hi-hats and shit like that. So that is very important to get everything to cut through fully. I don't think on the lead vocal I use the Pro C, but to keep talking about clean compressors, you know, like sometimes I like to use the 1176 SE. To me, this is like, I like this plugin and it's so unique, and I never see nobody else make a plugin like this because it's 1176 distortion, no, 1176 compression without distortion. You feel me? So sometimes you gotta know when to put more lemon pepper on the chicken, on the party wings. Sometimes you gotta know when not to put no barbecue sauce on the wings, you know. And I knew on this song, right? I already had Decapitator on his vocal. I already had Decapitator. I knew my limiter was gonna distort a little too. I had a little tape saturation. I already had a pre-seasoned Walmart rotisserie chicken. So by the time it was time to eat that motherfucker, you know, I just threw in a pinch of white salt, you know, nothing crazy because the flavor's already cooked in there. And yeah, this is why I like this plugin. Let's look at this one real fast. This is good if you want like the movement of 1176 without distortion.
Don't get hooked on the feeling, just let the real spin. I hope you meant it when you say you don't wanna speak, cause there's nothing that's breaking me more than watching you bleed. And you don't mind the distance, Mrs. Independent. You can tell I'm guilty by the way I'm still missing. Just wouldn't believe this, me showing these secrets. I'm lying, I'm lying, I'm lying. If it isn't you, can't tell if it's me or if it's just paranoia. At the club tryna avoid you, but you see me over shoulders, cause the way I like to talk, I hold them wages clear, that way I get out of here. There's too many circumstances for me to not put blame on my bones. I get nauseous when your name's on my phone. I get toxic when you leave me alone. I get hard-headed from all of these
So I feel like if everything is hitting hard, then nothing's gonna hit hard, you know. And we have to always consider the lead vocal as an instrument. Like I kind of hear his voice like an instrument. um, I kind of treat it like another instrument. I don't even treat it like a voice. It's more like another instrument because it's contributing transients. It's you hear how like there's certain times where he sings and it just kind of goes a little bit far, right? And if the drums are hitting super hard at the same time, you're not even gonna hear that. You're not gonna hear that dynamic, and also that's gonna make your limiter work a little too hard because now you got these two big gusts of energy that's hitting the limiter at the same time. Now your whole mix gonna distort even more. So that's why I wanted to bring this video and talk about, you know, managing transients, also considering the vocal to be another transient, to be another part of energy in the mix. You feel me? And how that might, you know, make your shit distort more. So y'all wonder like, why the fuck is my mix distorting? But you know, at the same time, it might not even be the beat. It might just be the vocal that is having too much transients, you know, or all the transients coming together and being too much. So this is pretty much the end of the video here today. I want to say thanks a lot for being a great part of my YouTube family. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe down below to support the channel. Check the links in the comments. Let me know what you think. Appreciate y'all now. Peace.